In my class, Introduction to the Humanities through Expressive Arts, I offer an experience in which the students pick from a table full of different percussion instruments and other instruments, and they play it. Many of them have never played an instrument before, and many of them have played instruments, or they came to the conclusion that they were not good enough to play the instrument because the teacher told them they had no good rhythm or things like that. So the idea of the experience is to have the students make a beautiful sound together. And it's an act of faith in a way, because anything can happen in that situation. And the students, of course, are not familiar with doing this because for some strange reason, it's not part of our regular practice in our culture to get together and play and jam together, just from the fact that humans love music and have rhythm and can sit around and come up with a sound with zero musical education. You don't need to know anything. You just need to listen and contribute to the sound. So that's what we do. And this is part of talking about being human. We talk about self-organization because there's no rules, there's no practice. There's no practice and there's no real guidance. The only thing that I say is that we listen to each other and try to add to the sound in a way that we think that would be nice. At the beginning of each session, there is fear and awkwardness in the classroom, but slowly this sound just emerges, as a phenomenon of all of us contributing with a different sound and listening to each other. That's what happens. So it's a really good way to talk about emergence, the emergence of something in a system from the perspective of complexity science. Just like flocks of birds can fly so beautifully together without anyone particularly guiding them. They all guide each other. We also talk about the issue of freedom, personal freedom, and how that plays with joining a group. When you join a group, you don't do whatever you would do when you're alone. You do something that fits in with the group. The question is, are you being free or not in that moment? So that's an interesting idea that the students were thinking about, because it's a basic concept of adaptation in any human society or group. You find that if you cannot have a sense of freedom while you do the things you do to survive and thrive in a society or in a group, if you cannot enjoy the sensation of freedom, even though you're fitting in somehow, if you cannot appreciate all the things, the little and big things that are your choice, because of course you always can withdraw. You don't need to participate, but you do. You want to participate. You have freedom to choose whether to participate or not, and what instrument to play and how to play it. So if you feel that you're being a slave and that you're constrained by the rhythm that exists, and you fail to appreciate your freedom within that, it doesn't feel as good as if you fully can sense and appreciate the fact that You can play however you want. You can join the rhythm or not. You can not play. You can hold back and just not play. You can even walk out the room. You can even throw the instrument across the room. And if you cannot appreciate your freedom, you feel constrained and you feel like a slave. So I think that this opportunity, what it does is that it brings to awareness this existential fact that everything we're doing because we're choosing to do it. If a person feels that they are doing the things they do in their life as a whole because they have to do it, it feels like a burden. But the fact is that you can stop doing what you're doing at any moment. Every single thing, and you don't stop because you want a certain outcome, and it's not going to happen if you don't do the things that you're doing. You're doing everything because you want to. This seems like a logical concept, but it's a felt sensation in a way, the sensation of choice and freedom. So this is what we wanted to talk about, and everyone had their opinions regarding this topic. In the experiences that have to do with creating something new, which are in every class there is an experience of creating. There is always a feeling of awkwardness and of not knowing what we're doing. It's always that's part of the process, and that is part of the process in life as well. So it is becoming conscious and aware that the sensation of not knowing where you're going and just doing things for a while, and then suddenly the meaning comes to light, and it can be quite great. It can be quite outstanding. So that sensation is that understanding of the process of creating anything is also one of the key elements that the class offers, becoming familiar with the process of creating something that didn't exist before, as individuals and as a group. And the idea of freedom and the idea of how meaning builds around these objects that we create. One of the drums. You're bad for I'm gonna do it fast. Again. Okay. You need it.